computer. Okay, good morning class. Welcome to the English classes online. Today is May 14 and my name is Beatriz Briceño. The topic today is Disease Hunter. Disease Hunter. This is the topic today. Okay, we are going to start with the guidelines. Remember, please join to the class with your full name, mute your microphone, and activate your camera. It's important you activate your camera. Have all the materials, books, pens, photocopies. Dress appropriately in online class. You know that you have to use the uniform. Number 5, complete with the class and work schedule and pay attention to the terms. Objective. The objective today is about disease, how to the disease spreads. And in Spanish, disease significa enfermedades. Talk about disease. El tema va a ser hablar sobre enfermedades and how to disease spread. Cómo las enfermedades se esparcen. Okay, how to disease spread. Remember, we have the coronavirus now, actually. Estamos pasando por un tema de coronavirus. Y this topic is very, very interesting. For motivation, para motivarlos a preparar video, he preparado un pequeño video about Nathan Wolf. Who is Nathan Wolf? Quiero que presten atención. ¿Quién es Nathan Wolf? ¿A qué se dedica Nathan Wolf? Y luego vamos a comentar sobre quién es Nathan. Nathan se escribe Nathan, but the real pronunciation is Nathan Wolf. Okay, I'm going to stop here.
When most people think about the beginnings of AIDS, they're going to think back to the 1980s. And certainly this was the decade in which we discovered AIDS and the virus that causes it, HIV. But in fact, this virus crossed over into humans many decades before, from chimpanzees, where the virus originated, into humans who hunt these apes. This photo was taken before the Great Depression in Brazzaville, Congo. At this time, there were tens of thousands of individuals, we think, that were infected with HIV. So I have a couple of really important questions for you. If this virus was in tens or hundreds of thousands of individuals at this point, why was it the case that it took us until 1984 to be able to discover this virus? Okay, now more importantly, had we been there in the 40s and 50s, 60s, had we seen this disease, had we understood exactly what was going on with it, how might that have changed and completely transformed the nature of the way that this pandemic moved? In fact, this is not unique to HIV. The vast majority of viruses come from animals, and you can kind of think of this as a pyramid of this bubbling up of viruses from animals into human populations. But only at the very...
Okay, I want that you see this pyramid, no? All the animals has viruses and have illness for the humans. For example, the rabbits, the yellow fever, SARS or Ebola, influenza, HIV or VHA or VIH, no? All come from animals.
Very top of this pyramid do these things become completely human. Nevertheless, we spend the vast majority of our energy focused on this level of the pyramid, trying to tackle things that are already completely adapted to human beings, that are going to be very, very difficult to address, as we've seen in the case of HIV. So during the last 15 years, I've been working to actually study the earlier interface here, what I've labeled viral chatter, which was a term coined by my mentor, Don Burke. This is the idea that we can study the sort of pinging of these viruses into human populations, the movement of these agents over into humans, and by capturing this moment, we might be able to move to a situation where we can catch them early. Okay, so this is a picture, and I'm going to show you some pictures now from the field. This is a picture of a Central African hunter. It's actually a fairly common picture. One of the things I want you to note from it is blood, that you see a tremendous amount of blood contact. This was absolutely key for us. This is a very intimate form of connection. So if we're going to study viral chatter, we need to get to these populations who have intensive contact with wild animals. And so we've been studying people like this individual. We collect blood from them, other specimens. We look at the diseases which are in the animals as well as the humans. And ideally, this is going to allow us to catch these things early on as they're moving over into human populations. And the basic objective of this work is not to just go out once and look at these individuals, but to establish thousands of individuals in these populations that we would monitor continuously on a regular basis. When they were sick, we would collect specimens from them. We would actually enlist them, which we've done now, to collect specimens from animals. We give them these little pieces of filter paper. When they sample from animals, they collect the blood on the filter paper, and this allows us to identify yet unknown viruses from exactly the right animals, the ones that are actually being hunted.
Deep in a remote region of Cameroon, two hunters stalk their prey. Their names are Patrice and Petit. They're searching for bushmeat, forest animals they can kill to feed their families.
Patrice and Petit set out most days to go out hunting in the forest around their homes. They have a series of traps, of snares that they've set up. They'll catch wild pigs, snakes, monkeys, rodents, anything they can, really.
Patrice and Petit have been out for hours but found nothing. The animals are simply gone. We stop for a drink of water. Then there's a rustle in the brush. A group of hunters approach.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Bonjour.
Their packs loaded with wild game.
There's at least 3 viruses that you know about which are in this particular monkey.
This species, yeah. And there's many, many more pathogens that are present in these animals. These individuals are at specific risk, particularly if there's blood contact. They're at risk for transmission and possibly infection with novel viruses.
As the hunters display their kills, something surprising happens. They show us filter paper they've used to collect the animal's blood. The blood will be tested for zoonotic viruses, part of a program Dr. Wolf has spent years setting up.
So this is from this animal right here, greater spot-nosed guanin. Every person who has one of those filter papers has at least at a minimum been through our basic health education about the risks associated with these activities, which presumably from our perspective gives them the ability to decrease their own risk and then obviously the risk to their families, the village, the country, and the world.
Okay, the video is too long, are 13 minutes, son 13 minutos que no les puedo pasar todo el video, me encantaría, but I can't, pero sí les puedo dejar el link para que lo puedan ver. Okay, this is Hunter. Nathan Wolf is a National Geographic explorer. He is an expert on disease. He studies how diseases spread and he wants to find a way to stop pandemics before they happen. What the meaning this? ¿Qué significa esto? Dice, Nathan Wolf es un explorador de National Geographic. He is an expert, es un experto en diseases, enfermedades, ¿no? Esta es una palabrita nueva que me gustaría que en tu post-it la vayas anotando, diseases. He studies, dice, él estudia how the diseases spread. Él estudia cómo una enfermedad se expande. Spread, se expande, se desarrolla. And he wants to find a way, y él quiere encontrar la forma to stop pandemics, de detener las pandemias before they happen, antes de que sucedan. O sea, detectar el virus ya en el animal antes que se vuelva una pandemia. Okay, now we're going to listen an audio, vamos a escuchar un audio, and we're going to circle true or false depending on the sentences. Please pay attention. I don't know. Excuse me?
¿Qué página era, Miss?
Unit 8.
Page 82. Page 82. Página 82. Listen.
Track 2-13.
Nathan Wolf is a scientist studying pandemics. Pandemics are diseases that spread quickly and make many people sick. In today's world, pandemics can be dangerous. It is easy for people to travel to different places, so diseases can spread in a very short time. Wolf says that scientists today usually take action after a disease spreads. He thinks we need better ways of dealing with diseases. He spent more than 8 years researching diseases in parts of Africa and Southeast Asia. This is because in these places, there are people who live near or work with animals. Pandemics usually happen because the bacteria and viruses in animals move into humans. By studying these diseases, Wolf wants to predict and stop pandemics before they happen.
Okay, very good. Did you want to repeat or it's okay?
Repeat.
Repeat, okay. Okay.
Unit 8, Track 2-13.
Nathan Wolf is a scientist studying pandemics. Pandemics are diseases that spread quickly and make many people sick. In today's world, pandemics can be dangerous. It is easy for people to travel to different places, so diseases can spread in a very short time. Wolf says that scientists today usually take action after a disease spreads. He thinks we need better ways of dealing with diseases. He spent more than 8 years researching diseases in parts of Africa and Southeast Asia. This is because in these places, there are people who live near or work with animals. Pandemics usually happen because the bacteria and viruses in animals move into humans. By studying these diseases, Wolf wants to predict and stop pandemics before they happen.
Okay, very good. Now we are going to answer this. Okay, number 1. A pandemic is a disease that spreads quickly to many people. True?
True.
Yes, very good. The answer is true. Very good. True. A pandemic, una pandemia, es una enfermedad que se propaga rápidamente a muchas personas. Very good. True. Number 2. International travel help to prevent pandemic. Did you listen?
True.
False. Very good.
False.
Ok, dice, los viajes internacionales ayudan a prevenir pandemias. Falso, ¿no? Number 3, Wolf does his research mainly in Europe. Nathan,
False.
very good. Wolf no hace sus investigaciones principalmente en Europa, sino en África. Number 4, many diseases start in animals and move into humans.
True.
Very good. True, ¿no? True. Muchas enfermedades empiezan en animales y se mueven a los humanos, ¿ok? Remember to circle or to use your post-it to new vocabulary, ¿ok? No te olvides de poner tu post-it con el vocabulario nuevo y recuerda enviarme constancia de lo que estás trabajando. I need photos. Okay, second part. In the second part, you are going to listen and advice that you heard, ¿no? You can check the advice that you heard. Ponle un check a los consejos que tú escuches, ¿no? Cuando hay una enfermedad, hay algunos consejos. For example, now, in these times, in the times of the coronavirus, what should I do? You should stay home. You should wash your hands. You should use a mask, ¿no? Usa mascarilla, lávate las manos, quédate en casa. Some suggestions, ¿no? Algunas sugerencias. Now you're going to listen this and you're going to put a check in the advices, okay? Todos los consejos que tú escuches, le pones un check. Listen.
Unit 8, Track 2-14.
People often get a cold or the flu, but a flu pandemic is different. A flu pandemic can be dangerous, so we should all be well prepared for it. One of the best ways to keep ourselves from falling sick is to stay healthy. Eat healthy food, exercise often, and get enough rest. Stay at home and rest when you're sick so that you don't spread the virus. Cover your nose and mouth when you cough or sneeze or wear a mask. But you should also wash your hands with soap often. Research shows that you can reduce your chance of getting the flu by 70% when you wear a mask and wash your hands often. It's also useful to prepare an emergency box at home. You should use it to store things such as food, water, medicine, and money. Sometimes during a pandemic, you need to stay at home for some time.
Okay. Do you want to repeat or is okay?
Repeat, please.
Repeat. Okay, I'm going to repeat.
Unit 8, Track 2-14.
People often get a cold or the flu, but a flu pandemic is different. A flu pandemic can be dangerous, so we should all be well prepared for it. One of the best ways to keep ourselves from falling sick is to stay healthy. Eat healthy food, exercise often, and get enough rest. Stay at home and rest when you're sick so that you don't spread the virus. Cover your nose and mouth when you cough or sneeze or wear a mask. But you should also wash your hands with soap often. Research shows that you can reduce your chance of getting the flu by 70% when you wear a mask and wash your hands often. It's also useful to prepare an emergency box at home. You should use it to store things such as food, water, medicine, and money. Sometimes during a pandemic, you need to stay at home for some time.
Okay, very good. If you're understanding the audio, you're going to listen and stay home, use mask, wash your hands, the same that you do now in these times. You're listening in 19, I suppose that this book is from 29, I think, 2009. And now 2020, en el 2020, we're going to using this, ¿no? Estamos usando todo lo que dice this. Okay, where do you put a check? Question 1, stay healthy, yes or not?
Yes.
Yes. Very good, yes, very good, Mayari, and I don't know, Jamie, I suppose. Number 2, wear a mask. Wear a mask.
Yes.
Very good, very good.
Yes, miss, yes.
Go to the hospital.
No.
No.
No, very good. No, go to the hospital. And now, with the coronavirus, all the people recommend not go to the hospital. Stay home and make a phone call, not go to the hospital. Okay, next. Keep some money at home.
No.
Yes.
Keep some money at home. Money, keep some money at home. Yes, very good. Necesitas guardar dinero, decía el audio, ¿no? Guarda dinero, usa máscara, mantente saludable. Ajá. Stay at home and rest. Stay at home. This is very important. This is very important. Stay home and rest, ¿no? Quedarse en casa y descansar. Stay home. Y en estos tiempos también pasa lo mismo. Stay home and rest, ¿no? Have a list of emergency numbers.
Yes.
Did you listen? Okay, wait a minute. Oye, a alguien se le está filtrando el micro. Listen. Una cosa es lo que yo crea, o sea, yo creo que debemos tener una lista de números, yo también creo lo mismo, pero la pregunta es si tú lo escuchaste en el audio, que debas tener una lista de números.
No, miss.
Right, the answer is no, no menciona, el audio no lo menciona, yo lo creo conveniente, sí, YouTube, ustedes también, but estamos hablando from the audio, okay, very good. The answers are stay healthy, wear a mask, keep some money at home, and stay home and rest. That's all. Very good. Critical thinking. Do you worry about disease? ¿Te preocupan las enfermedades? Oh my God. Y la segunda pregunta viene de cajón. What disease have you read or heard about in the news? What disease? ¿Qué enfermedades has leído o estás escuchando en las noticias? The answer is
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus. Ponen ahí critical thinking, coronavirus. Yes, tell me. Very good. Critical
Qué
thinking.
coincidencia que el libro justo hable de pandemias.
Exactly.
1,
Should. Shouldn't.
2,
Could. Couldn't.
3,
Would. Wouldn't.
Ok, entonces escuchamos should, shouldn't, could, couldn't, and would, wouldn't. Y ahora vamos a completar dependiendo de lo que tú escuches, ¿ok? If Danny has a backache, si Danny tiene dolor de espalda, he could, should, ok, de lo que tú escuches, complete, ¿ok? Listen.
Unit 8, Track 2-16. 1,
If Danny has a backache, he should rest.
2,
The music was too loud. I couldn't hear what she was saying.
3,
It's raining. They shouldn't play soccer outdoors.
4,
Would you like some orange juice?
Okay, very good. Do you want to repeat?
Sí, yes.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Unit 8, Track 2-16. 1,
If Danny has a backache, he should rest.
2,
The music was too loud. I couldn't hear what she was saying.
3,
It's raining. They shouldn't play soccer outdoors.
4,
Would you like some orange juice?
Su micro no está activado.
Okay. Tell me wait a minute. Aquí está cargando. Ahí está. Number 1. If Danny has a backache, he should. Yes, very good. Should. I'm going to show you. Should. Very good. 2.
Couldn't.
Couldn't? Okay, let me check. Yes, couldn't. Very good. Couldn't. Yes, couldn't.
Shouldn't.
Hey, remember, shouldn't. Don't say the L. Shouldn't. Yes, shouldn't. Number 4. Would. Very good. Now, listen to me. ¿Hay algún apache creo por ahí? Listen. Do you know you should cover your mouth and nose when you sneeze? You know a sneeze? This is a sneeze. The air from your sneeze can travel about 10 kilometers, 30 kilometers, or 60 kilometers. Okay, we are not talking about, no estamos hablando de qué distancia se puede mantener un virus con un solo estornudo. We're talking about the fastest, la velocidad. ¿Con qué velocidad va el estornudo? 10 kilometers, 30 kilometers, or 60 kilometers. What do you think?
La B.
Letter B. Okay, listen. Para sorpresa de ustedes, la velocidad de un estornudo es de 60 kilómetros, 60 kilómetros por hora. Entonces va mucho más rápido de lo que tú crees. Si pensabas que iba a 10 kilómetros, no, a 30, como ponen cuando hay un colegio, dice bajar la velocidad a 30 y el carro va en 30 kilómetros. No, la velocidad del estornudo puede tener hasta 60 kilómetros, así que mucho cuidado con estar cerca de alguien que está estornudando. Ok, 60 es la respuesta, is the answer. And in the communications, y eso lo vas a hacer tú, in your house, with your mom, with your dad, with your brother, necesitas una persona que eres tú y 3 personas más. Por ejemplo, yo puedo poner number 2 my mother, number 3 my father, and number 4 my brother, or maybe my brother, my aunt, mi hermano, mi tía, and my cousin, mi primo, o my nephew, mi sobrino. ¿Y qué les voy a preguntar? For example, number 1, I eat breakfast every day. Tomo desayuno todos los días. A ver, me analizo. I eat breakfast. Tomo desayuno todos los días. Is it okay? Si está bien, si tú tomas desayuno todos los días, put a check. Pones un check. Y si tú no tomas, honestamente, tu desayuno, put an X. Pones una X. Number 2, my mother or my brother. My brother eat breakfast. Mi hermano toma desayuno. Si toma desayuno, put a check. Si no toma, put an X. ¿Ok? Pones buena o mala de acuerdo a las respuestas. Number 2, I always wash my hands before I eat. Yo siempre lavo mis manos antes de comer. Honest. ¿Me lavo las manos antes de comer? Yes. And my brother? No. And my father? No. And my little brother? Yes. Así. 3. Get lot of rest. Descanso lo suficiente. Uy, me dio para echado. Yes. My brother, no. My father, no. Etcétera, ¿no? I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. Como mucha fruta y verdura. Uy, yo no como nada. X. My mother or my brother, yes. My uncle, my grandmother, yes. Así. Entonces vas a tener que buscar 3 personas para que les hagas las entrevistas y me vas a completar todo el cuadro. Dice, por ejemplo, acá dice, get plenty of exercises. No hago mucho ejercicio. Yes, no, yes, no. Drink a lot of water. Toma mucha agua. Igual, yes, no, yes, no. O todos no, no, no. O todos yes, yes. Take a walk every day. Doy una caminata diaria. Bueno, será en la sala, de la sala al cuarto, del cuarto al baño. Ok, yes, no, yes, no. Protect my skin with sunscreen. Ajá, eso quiero la verdad, aunque no estamos saliendo, antes del coronavirus, ¿usaba protector solar? Yes, yo sí cuido mi piel. No, yo no creo en eso. Entonces, please, very, very honest, you have to complete this square, okay? Okay, did you listen to me? Are you there? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Here, ¿qué vamos a hacer aquí? First, primero, we're going to scramble the sentences, using first the block letters, empezando con letras mayúsculas, empezando con, tratando de contestar a la primera pregunta. Dice, what's wrong with you? ¿Qué pasa contigo? What's wrong with you? ¿Qué le dirá esta persona? Well, feel, I don't, a headache, well, I have. Mauricio levantó la mano. Tell me, Mauricio.
Sería, I don't feel well,
Sorry, no te escuché bien. Could you repeat, please?
I don't feel well and I have a headache.
Very good, Mauricio, very good. What's wrong with you? ¿Qué pasa contigo? Entonces yo digo, I don't feel well. I don't feel well. No me siento bien. I don't feel well. I don't feel well. Hey, your cameras, please, your camera. No puedo ver a nadie. I don't feel well. Ahora sí, I don't feel well. I have a headache. No me siento bien y tengo dolor de cabeza. Yes. Entonces copiamos ahí. I don't feel well. I don't feel well. And I have a headache. Very well. Now two. Second. Take one, use some, shoot medicine. Okay. What?
Take some medicine.
You should take some medicine. Very good. Hasta ahí está. Very good. You should take some medicine. Tú deberías tomar algo de medicina. You should take some medicine. Aquí, anda tachando lo que ya usamos. ¿Qué nos queda?
Okay, what's?
Okay, what's?
Hey, what's with you?
Yeah, what's wrong?
What's wrong? Mira la primera pregunta de Nurs. Siempre se dice what's wrong. Okay, what's wrong with
What's
you?
wrong with you?
Very good. Okay, what's wrong with you? Okay, what's wrong with you? Okay, ¿qué pasa contigo? Le dice, ¿no? Okay, next. Okay, what's wrong with you?
I need my
Yo mi rodilla cortomé, ¿no? I cut my knee. Yes, very good, Mauricio. I cut my knee. Corté mi rodilla, dice. I cut my knee. ¿Cómo digo I knee? I rodilla, mi cut, no. I cut my knee. Ok. Empiezo con, ok, nurse. Ok, está bien.
Okay.
Okay. Rest here. Yes, rest here. Okay, descansa aquí.
For a little?
For a little, yes. Okay, rest here for a little. While mientras Pat, ¿no? While. Dice, okay, rest here for a little. Why?
But why are you?
Yes, why are you?
Back here again.
Very good. Why are you back here again? El que se cortó la rodilla le dice que descansa un momento y luego dice, Pat, ¿y tú por qué regresaste, no? Pat, why are you here back again? Or back here again?
¿Me puede repetir?
Yes. Okay. Rest here for a little. Rest here for a little. While Pat, why are you back here again? I think I have here. Creo que lo tengo acá. A ver. Para mostrarlo. Ay, no, pero no está. A ver. Ahí está. Ahí está. Okay, rest here for a little while, Pat. Why are you back here again? Ahí lo tienen en pantalla. The rest. The next. El otro. Ajá. Ay, no puedo mostrar la respuesta, solo la pregunta. Ajá. I still
feel really sick and I have a stomach ache. Correct.
I still feel really sick.
Really sick and I have a stomach ache.
Very good, Mauricio. I still feel really sick. Yo aún me siento realmente enfermo. And I have a stomach ache. Y me duele la barriga, ¿no? Tengo dolor de barriga. I have a stomach ache.
Miss, la otra sería, oh dear, you should go home.
Very good, Adriana. Oh dear, oh querido, ¿no? You should go home. Deberías irte a casa, ¿no? Oh dear, you should go home. Very good. Oh dear, you should go home. Activate your cameras, please. Solo Mauricio, Adriana. Yo estoy apuntando quiénes activan y quiénes no. Ah, Mauricio.
Sí, yo también.
Jaciel. Jaciel, yo veo dos gatos nomás ahí. Two cats. Ahí está.
Sí, Miss, que ya no tengo cámara.
Ya. Ok. Don't forget to use the chat. No se olviden que se puede usar el chat. Okay, finish. Yes, finishing. Okay, very good. Second part. Language focus. Oh, facilito. You have to complete
¿Cuál era la 2?
The number 2.
No, la de North, la del número 1.
La de North, la del número 1. ¿La segunda North?
Sí.
Segunda North dice, you should. No, eso no es, ¿no? Otro North. Okay, rest here for a little. ¿Esta? Te lo pongo acá.
No, Miss, la que estaba más arriba. Esa. La de North, esa es la que empieza con take.
La que empieza con take. Acá dice, I don't feel well. You should take. You should take some medicine. You should take some medicine. You should take some medicine. Tú deberías tomar medicina. You should take some medicine. Kay, what's wrong with you? Kay, what's wrong with you? Snyder Chaparro, te veo trabajando. Congratulations, está trabajando Snyder y me está mandando la foto. Very good, Snyder.
Yeah, Miss.
En cambio, aquí sí no lo voy a escribir. ¿No ha impreso las hojas o qué ha pasado? No las ha copiado. Si no puedes imprimírselo. Porque mirándome, I need that you work, I need that you work. Yo necesito que trabajes. Don't look at me, work. No que me mires, sino que trabajes. Okay, very good. Second part. Complete the sentences. Ajá.
Rest. Descansar.
Ajá, dice, Jerry broke his arm. Jerry broke his arm. Jerry se rompió el brazo. What should he? ¿Cómo se pregunta? What should he? Acuérdate cuando digo, ¿qué debo hacer? Digo yo, what should I do? What should I do? Pero ahora digo, what should he
do?
Do. ¿Qué debo hacer? Do es hacer. Entonces, what should he? ¿Qué debo yo? ¿O qué debe él hacer? What should he do? May and Brian, estomachache, dolor de estómago. May and Brian have. Yes, May and Brian have. Very good. May and Brian have. May y Brian tienen stomachache. Tomar medicina. Ajá. Should. Could or would. Te doy alternativa. Should, could or would.
Good.
Good. ¿Te gustaría tomar medicina? No. Should. Yes, very good. Should. Olvídense de la L. Should. Without L. Should. 3. I, my hand. Yo, mi mano. I, my hand. Could, puede ser heart. A ver, ¿cuál de los dos? Could o heart? Good. And the answer is heart. I hurt myself. Me lastimé. Ya es que no leíste abajo. Dice playing tennis. Y jugando tenis no te vas a cortar. Entonces puedes lastimar. Hurt my hand playing tennis. It's not a good idea. No es buena idea. Tú no te quedas en casa.
What?
No tú. Should or why? Why don't you? ¿Por qué tú no? Dice, ¿por qué tú no? Why don't you? Why don't you stay home? Very good. 4. Kelly doesn't feel well. She should or could go to her piano lessons. or good? Sorry, shouldn't or shouldn't go to piano lessons? Kelly no se siente bien. Ella no podría ir a las clases de piano. Shouldn't, no debería. She shouldn't go to piano lessons. It's better for her rest. Es mejor para ella que descanse. And the last one. Donna enferma. Donna enferma. Is very good. Donna is sick. Donna está enferma. Very good, Jaciel. Donna is sick. She go to school today. She go to school today.
Sure.
Debería ir al colegio. Ajá, very good. Should she go to school today? Debería ir al colegio. Very good. Very good. Is, should, shouldn't, why, hard, have, should, do. Finish?
Yes.
Yes, very good. That's all? Not. That's all? Not. Okay, let me see. Ajá. Oh. Esta página nos quedan 5 minutos. Oh my God. Aquí dice, practice with your partner. En estas oraciones hay algunos errores, hay mistakes. Lo que tengo que ver es cuál es el error. Number one, what's wrong? What's wrong? ¿Qué pasa? Pero ahí le falta algo, ¿no?
La S.
La S.
Exacto, la coma S. What's, apóstrofe S. What's. Ajá, muy bien. Dice, I am having a sore throat. I am having. ¿Se dice I am having? ¿O se dice I have? Entonces tachamos I'm having y ponemos have. I have a sore throat. Muy bien. Very good. Number two. My ear hurts. My ear hurts. Okay. Dice, my ear hurt, mi oreja lastimó, ¿no? Mi oreja lastimó, dice así, my ear hurt. Y le falta la S, hurts, le falta hurts, acá se lastimó mi oreja. What should I do? Luego dice ahí, está bien, what should I do? You should stay home. ¿Cuál es el error en you should stay home?
Es stay, ING no va.
Exacto, very good. Sin el ING. En la 3, I have stomachaches. Su macho, tiene varios dolores de estómago. Es
Stomachaches no se escribe así.
Es estomachache, sin la S. Táchame la S. Stomachache. Luego dice, why do you go to the doctor? ¿Es why do o why don't?
Why
don't? En vez de do es don't. Negative. En vez de do es don't. Luego dice finalmente Lisa and Tina both has cold, ambas tienen tos. What doesn't they? Ajá. ¿Cuál es el error ahí?
They. No.
No es doesn't. No es doesn't. Es don't. Es don't. Very good. Escúchame, esta pregunta, este ejercicio de acá de True False, lo haces tú y me lo envías, y quiero hacerte un pequeño cuestionario antes de terminar la clase, y solo márcame las respuestas, please. Number one, tienes 1 minuto para contestar. Number one, what is a disease? What is a disease? Cazador, enfermedades o pandemia. No me digas la respuesta, solo marca, please. Now, márcalo ahora. La que tú creas, márcame. What is a disease? Number two, how do you say cazador in English? Illness, hunter, spirit. Marca, por favor. Number three, when do you shoot? ¿Cuándo usamos shoot? To give an advice, to help people, to give orders. Please, marca. Number four, the negative of should is, el negativo de should is, should not. A, B, C. Okay. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. I have to stop. Ah, ya no
marqué.
Me
Falta la última.
Wait a minute.
de nuevo.
Wait a minute. What is a disease? How do you say cazador in English? When I use should? And the negative of should. 4 questions. 4 questions. Very good. Very good, some students. Please, I need 23 results. Necesito 23 resultados. Tengo 10 y 2, 12. Me faltan 11 todavía. Ajá. Aquí me va.
¿Puedes decir las notas ahorita?
Yes, right now. Claro que sí. Very fast, very fast. We have 1 minute and have to stop. 13 seconds, 12, 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. I'm going to finalize. Ajá. We're going to share results. Voy a compartir los resultados. And this, what is a disease? 17 correct answers. Disease means enfermedades. Very good. Next. How do you say cazador in English? 16, my students say correct. Hunter. Yes, not spread. Hunter. Number 3. When I use should, to help people, no, to give an advice, para dar consejo, para eso se usa should, to give an advice. And the question number 4, the negative of should, the negative of should is shouldn't, letter A. Okay, cada correcta vale 5 puntos and the grade is 20. Luego me envían a mí los resultados de acuerdo a ustedes. Mayerly marcó tanto, Mauricio marcó tanto, pero esas son las respuestas correctas. Thank you very much for participating, and thank you very much for staying in my class. You stay now in my class, the time is over, ya acabó, se pone 11:45, we finish with the class. Uy, no carga mi diapositiva final para cerrar. Pero mientras carga, solo quiero agradecerle. Thank you very much for staying in the class, for the participation, por participar. Sí, ¿me escuchas? Debo finalizar ya.
Los resultados lo manda.
Claro que sí, yo les mando los resultados, espero hayan salido bien, Ok, ya terminamos, son 11:47, me estoy pasando de la hora, no quiero aprovecharme. Eso
¿Qué
sería.
importa?
No importa, nos quedamos. Ok, very good, kids, very good, thank you. Gracias por estar en la clase, ya han aprendido algo sobre virus. Tienen 15 minutos, luego regresan ya a su clase con el profesor que les toque. No sé qué profesor les toca. No sé qué les toca, pero solo quiero agradecer.
Química.
Okay. I want to say thank you. Muchas gracias, chicos. No sé dónde salieron esos aplausos.